This video will show you how to replace a water pump on a Subaru Outback with a 2.5-liter engine. This will be located along the driver's side front of your engine. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Now we're going to have to drain the coolant and we're going to have to make our way underneath the front of the vehicle. So make sure you're in a safe area to do so. We'll make sure the cooling system is cool to the touch. You never open the cooling system if it's hot. Maybe you just came back from a road test. We're pressing down on the radiator cap and turning it counterclockwise. Lift it up and away from your face. Never open it towards your face. A quick inspection of that seal, and now I'm just going to rest that along the top of the radiator. While this is open, let's safely make our way under the front of the vehicle. Now we're making our way under the front of the vehicle. We have to remove our lower splash shield. Now this is a fairly large splash shield, and there's going to be several pieces of mounting hardware holding it in position. You're going to find that you have push clips and mounting bolts. As far as push clips, if you are looking along either side, you're going to find that there's push clips holding our fender liners in place to the splash shield. We're going to remove those first. Go ahead and do both sides of the vehicle. Once you've finished both sides, we're making our way towards the center of the splash shield. Now tucked up inside of these areas, you're going to find that you have a push pin that needs to be removed. There's one over here, and the same thing over towards the passenger side. Now we can make our way straight rearward. You can see two more here. As you look outward as well, you're going to find that there's two 12mm bolts inside of them. We'll save those for last. Continue rearward. We have two more push pins here along each side. Same on both sides, obviously. Now along the outside here, you can see that there's a push pin. You can remove that. Let's continue on. Same thing on both sides. In the center, we have a couple push clips here. This whole plastic panel should be able to come out. We can set that aside. As you make your way rearward, there should be one here. Ours is missing. Same process. And now we can make our way towards our 12mm headed mounting bolts. Keep in mind, these are the last things holding this shield in place. Both bolts are out of position. Let's lower this splash shield. On the bottom passenger side corner is where you're going to find your drain. We have our collection receptacle under this area. We're going to collect and recycle all fluids as required. Let's turn that drain plug counterclockwise. We're waiting to see a steady trickle of fluid making its way out of the drain port. We'll let the coolant fully drain before continuing on. Now that finished draining, we'll close our drain plug. We want to make sure it is tightened. We do not want a coolant leak. Now once that's bottomed out, we're just going to attempt to turn it a little bit further here. We obviously do not want to strip it out, but we do want to confirm that it's properly secured. Just go ahead and wipe down any mess in this area. From up inside the engine compartment, have a look at your serpentine belt. You can see that the belt itself goes over some pulleys and under others. We're going to be focusing all the way on the driver's side of the engine. As you follow that belt all the way down to the bottom on the driver's side, you're going to find the water pump pulley. There's three 10mm bolts holding the pulley to the water pump. We have to dislodge those first. We're not going to fully remove them, just go ahead and break them free. For that, I'm using a 10mm. In some instances, you can use the 10mm only and quickly break it free. Other instances, you may have to carefully use a pry bar of some sort and make your way in between the bolts, preventing this from spinning. Now, since all of my mounting bolts did break free, I can continue on. I'll just show you what the bar looks like here. You would just want to come down diagonally in between two of your studs. Once you're rested in position perfectly, you could continue on to breaking them free. Now let's start removing the serpentine belt. We'll just take note of the routing. After confirming this, we'll continue on at the serpentine belt tensioner that's right up along the top area here in the center. Using a 15mm, we're going to turn this clockwise. That's going to release tension from the belt and we'll remove it from our idler pulley. You can see that I have slack right up along this area. Slide that right off of there. Be careful for any pinch points as you release your tool. And now let's remove the serpentine belt. You don't have to fully remove it. I typically do so I can thoroughly inspect it. When inspecting your serpentine belt, you just want to confirm it's not dry rotted, cracked, or damaged in any way that might make it unusable. This one looks like it's in decent condition, so let's continue on. Now we're back down at that water pump. It's time to remove the water pump pulley. Remove all 3 of your mounting bolts and then remove the pulley from the water pump itself. Now as for this last mounting bolt, leave it in place a couple threads. You may have to pry your pulley out of place. As you can tell, that prevents it from falling and potentially getting damaged. Just give it a quick inspection, make sure it's not rotted or damaged. This looks good, we'll set it aside. Now, if you are looking down at the water pump, you're going to find that you have 5 10mm mounting bolts holding it in place. They make their way all the way around. Now, they can be fairly difficult to see, so here's a quick look at the new one. You can see all of the bolt ports. A quick note about this is it can be done from under the vehicle. It can also be done from inside the engine compartment, whatever's easiest for you. Now, you can start with whichever bolt you like first. I typically like to start at the bottom. Since we're removing the water pump, let's make sure we put our collection receptacle under here for the removal process. We get our last one here. Now, just like with the pulley, you want to make sure you leave one of these bolts in just a couple threads so we can continue on with the removal process. Now we're going to break the water pump free from our engine. I'm just using a pry bar and I'll tap on this with a hammer. There's that bolt. And we can remove that water pump. There it is, friend. Prior to installing any brand new part, always clean and inspect the mounting surface. For this, I'm just using a clean rag. We're not using any type of detergent. We don't want anything making its way into the cooling system, which can cause damage. A little bit of coolant there is not really such a big deal. I can clean that up. Now it's time to install the brand new water pump. The first thing we'll do is have a look along the back side. You can see that there's a groove that makes its way all the way around. And in your kit, your water pump came with a brand new gasket. Just go ahead and rest that into the proper position and press it in firmly all the way around. This should hold in place while we continue on with installing this onto the engine. After cleaning each one of our mounting bolts, let's get the water pump in position and we'll start in all the mounting bolts before snugging any of them. We're taking our time on this. You need to confirm that the gasket does not fall out of place. Otherwise, you're going to find you have a coolant leak. Let's make our way up along the inboard side here. Last one up on the top corner. Once they're all started in, snug them up. The torque for those is going to be 65 inch-pounds. They're all snug. Let's torque them. Last one up here. Now for good measure, we're going to go around one more time. We definitely do not want a leak from our water pump. Let's get our water pump pulley in place next. Now for this, we need to try to align our mounting bolt ports. We'll get this rested in position along the center of the pulley. Spin it as necessary to start in each one of the mounting bolts. Once they're all started in, you can snug them up. Once you have those bottomed out and snugged, we're going to torque them to 10 foot-pounds. That equates to 120 inch-pounds. Now as you can see, when I go to turn this, the entire thing's going to want to spin on me, so I have to prevent that from happening. You can either hold this by hand, if you're strong enough, or you could use your pry bar, as I showed you before. Let's just double check those. Double check to make sure your pump pulley is properly seated. Now it's time for the serpentine belt. Reinstall the serpentine belt in the same orientation or routing as you had removed it. Now the positioning I have the belt routed in, we have it going around the idler pulley here. It goes down all the way underneath the water pump pulley. It circles around the water pump, all the way up, past the oil filter, and now we can see our AC condenser up along the top. At this point, the belt is going to go straight across the top, all the way over to the alternator. Once it goes around the alternator, it's going to circle back towards the center of the engine and around the tensioner pulley. This is where we're going to take up all the slack from our belt system. After it makes its way around there, of course, around that crank pulley as well. Let's just start bringing this around. Now, the idler pulley was the first place we took the belt off of, so during the installation process, that's going to be the last place that we install it. So I'm just taking it back off of there for now. We're sliding this over our tensioner pulley. Now I'm holding onto the belt. I'm going to carefully start applying tension on that tensioner. I'm turning it clockwise. That's going to release tension from my belt itself, and then we can slide it around our idler pulley. We want to be extremely careful for any pinch points. Now don't remove your tool yet. You need to have a close look along each one of the pulleys, especially the ones that have ribs. The belt ribs themselves need to fit into the grooves on each one of the pulleys. This is extremely important. If you're off by even one groove on any one of the pulleys, you could cause damage to the belt or other engine damage. This looks good, so let's go ahead and remove our tool. We're back underneath the front of the vehicle, and we're going to make sure we clean up any mess, because of course we will have to check for leaks. If you're using any type of solvent, you want to be extremely careful not to get it on your serpentine belt. That will cause damage. You can use some water if necessary, but typically a quick wipe with a rag should do. Now it's time to install the lower engine splash shield. Now this does have two 12mm bolts that are going to hold it in place. That's what we're going to start with, but we are not tightening them yet. We still need to be able to shift this around as necessary. Now that we have those bolts in place, we're heading towards the back. Start getting some push clips in here, making our way rearward. Continue on with those push clips. Make our way over here. Let's get this one in here. Now we're all the way over on the other side of the vehicle here. We can put in our push pin. Now that we got that done, we're going to be focusing along each side of the splash shield. You can see that we have an area for 3 push clips. We'll be starting in this rearward corner. Now, as we're looking along the side here, you're going to find that there's actually 4 ports on the splash shield itself. We want to aim for the upper ports for each one of these push pins. Let's get this one. Double check this side, repeat the process on the other side, and then we're going to continue on along the front. Okay, this side's in. Now as for the front, we had a couple push clips. These ones come in from an angle. Now we're lining this up with the upper ports as well. Our next push pin in here. Now we're making our way rearward. We have a couple push pin ports. Now we're making our way towards each one of our mounting bolts. We can tighten those up. Double check to confirm it's properly in place, and you can make your way out from under the vehicle. Now it's time to fill the cooling system. Along the top of the radiator, we have our radiator cap. Go ahead and remove that. To fill the cooling system, there's several different ways of doing so. You can either have a specialty tool, or you could just have a basic funnel system like what we have here. Either way, we need to put fluid in and make sure there's no air inside of the cooling system. This can cause an overheating condition. If you are using this funnel, just go ahead and line it up, use the proper adapter, and make sure it's tight. The funnel should not be able to move around. Remove the stopper and add coolant. At this point, you can tell that we've removed the air from in the system, at least so far. We want to go ahead and start up the vehicle for approximately 5 seconds and turn it right back off. We're going to triple check our belt routing. After that, you're going to start up the vehicle again. You're going to let it run, make sure that the heat is in the hot temperature setting, and we're going to run the vehicle until the cooling fans turn on. At that point, the thermostat should also be opened, coolant will be circulating, and any air that might be trapped in the system will be removed. After confirming you've removed all air, you can remove your tool. Okay, we finished running the vehicle. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Keep in mind your coolant may be hot at this point. We'll remove our adapter and install our radiator cap. Double check to make sure your coolant reservoir is up to the maximum line as well. Clean any mess in this area. Okay friend, we finished our installation. We've already run the vehicle and we're sure we do not have any coolant leaks. At this point, you can go ahead and close the hood and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.